Why you should take pickup basketball seriously. I'm Tony. Welcome back to Streetball Strategy.
Serious ain't measured by a paycheck or fame. Passion ain't for sale, it's stitched in the game. They say it's just for fun, I say it's for my soul. Every cut, every drive is what makes me whole.
I recently saw this video on Instagram and it boiled my blood.
Don't take pickup basketball too seriously. Look, unless you're professional playing in a professional run, pickup basketball, it's not real basketball.
For those of you who are going to say that me commenting on this video is me falling into the trap of rage bait, or that I shouldn't be taking it that seriously, or that I'm overthinking it, that's perfectly fine and understandable. This just isn't the video for you. Just like I'm not trying to tell you that you should take it more seriously or that you should think about it more. Don't tell me that I shouldn't. And before anyone jumps to any kind of conclusion where I'm trying to hate on this guy or I'm jealous of him because he's a better basketball player than me, and thus why I'm getting so upset by his video, that is not the case. In fact, I think the message, the overall underlying message that he's trying to get across in his video is completely true. But there's one big, huge, major problem I have with it, even though I do agree with the actual message he's trying to get across. So let's talk about why you should take pickup basketball seriously. To establish a little bit of objectivity of my reaction to this video, let me say that when I first saw this video, I watched it 2 or 3 times. The reason I did that was because how I immediately felt compelled to strongly, heatedly disagree with this person's opinion on this very specific video. But unlike many commenters on social media, when I saw this video and I immediately disagreed with it, I didn't jump to the conclusion that because I disagree, that means this person who I don't know at all, they are stupid, they're evil, they're the enemy, and so I must comment and endlessly insult them and attack them and put them down simply because I disagree with them. I didn't do that. I rarely ever do that. My usual reaction to videos like this, or people that have thoughts, ideas, or say things that I don't understand, or especially if I disagree with, my first thought usually is, I must be misunderstanding. I must be the problem, not them. It must be my comprehension that is off. So I must be doing something wrong because I must be misunderstanding this somehow. So I watched it a few times to make sure that I was understanding what he was saying. And a lot of times just in life, when I come across people that are either saying or having thoughts that I either it's kind of the idea of how could you possibly say that? How could you possibly think that? In those situations when they happen, my go-to kind of system is stupid or liar. Because how could you have that thought or say that thing if you're not stupid or you're lying? The thing about this video is that he's neither stupid nor lying, meaning I completely agree with the overall message that he's trying to get across, which is that recreational players, pickup players, are just not as good as organized players, especially Division III college players. That's not a stupid thing to say because it's pretty much true, and because it's true, he's not lying about it either. So it's neither stupid nor liar. The part that boiled my blood and I vehemently disagree with is the very beginning, the hook to the video, which is do not take pickup basketball seriously. And he goes on in the video to say pickup basketball isn't real basketball. And just to touch on that real basketball comment real quick, which is who are you or anyone to decide what real basketball is? Where is the line where this basketball down here, this is fake pretend basketball, but up here across this invisible line, that's real basketball? Who is to decide that? Getting back to his message of recreational pickup players just aren't as good as organized players, especially Division III college players, if he was trying to get that point across, if that was his main objective, then he could have just said that. The assumption being that he has heard people say, or online he's read people or seen videos of people saying yeah, I'm a I'm a pickup player, I'm a recreational player, but if we play together and you play Division III basketball, I could beat you, I could hang with you, even though I'm only a pickup player. This guy is clearly intelligent enough to realize that that's just not true. Like, I get the impulse of like wanting to shut those people down and put them in their place and let them know like, hey, no, just because you're a real good recreational pickup player does not mean you can hang with us Division III players. And I'm fine with him sort of putting that message out there because he has every right to do it, and I agree with him. If he just wanted to get that message out there, that's one thing, and I'm fine with that. The parts where I vehemently disagree is where he says pickup basketball should not be taken seriously and it's not real basketball. Because that was needless. He didn't have to throw that in the video. That little intro part about how you shouldn't take it seriously has nothing to do with the rest of the message in the video. He didn't have to include that to get his message across and show how that message is true. That don't take it seriously was completely needless. It was a pot shot at players that are just not as good as him. He's essentially saying, like, if you don't play this level of basketball, everything else below it just doesn't count. Since it doesn't count, then you just shouldn't take it seriously. Yeah, have fun, play around, and it's a hobby, but because you're not as good as us, then just don't take it seriously. Saying it's pretty much a waste of time. So if you're not at this level in basketball, and I guess you could extrapolate that out to the rest of life, if you're not at this level at whatever, then everything below it is just a waste of time that you just shouldn't really take all that seriously. And the newsflash is that only a very small percentage of basketball players play on that D3 level or above, but pretty much everybody plays pickup basketball. If you play basketball, you very probably play pickup basketball at some point. Or even if like organized basketball, if that's your main modality of how you play basketball, you probably at some point have played your fair amount of pickup basketball as well. Even if like right now, what you do is primarily organized basketball, at some point, you've probably played a decent amount of pickup basketball. So everybody plays pickup basketball, but only a very small percentage actually plays organized D3 level basketball and above. So he's pretty much saying, if you're not in that small percentage, then the rest of us, we're just wasting our time. And since we're wasting our time, don't take it seriously. And let's talk about why I specifically have a huge burning problem with that. I get it. I might be unique and my story, my career may only apply to me, and thus you may not agree with it. That's fine. But I'm only just sharing why what he said specifically irritates me and the way I came up playing basketball so deeply. And that's because ever since I was a little kid, when I first discovered basketball, I felt very lucky because basketball just sort of happened to fit me. I don't know how or why, it just did. But when I say it fit me, I don't mean it fit me in that like I was naturally good at it, because I was not at all. I knew from the beginning I had no basketball talent. I had very little athletic talent. When I say it fit me, it meant that even though I was terrible, I still loved it anyway. I still loved spending as much of my time as I possibly could being on the basketball court, even though I was terrible. I felt very lucky that I was passionate about something, even though I was bad at it. Even when I turned into a teenager and I actually started studying the game for the very first time, understanding just the fundamentals of the game and understanding that I actually could get better as a player, I still knew at that point, even though I got a little bit better, that professional basketball, being a professional basketball player one day in whatever capacity, getting paid to play basketball was just never in the cards for me. I'm 5'8", 140. I'm never going to be a professional basketball player. So since I'm never going to go pro, I didn't have any ambitions to do so. And if I'm not going to be pro at it, then to me, the way I looked at it was like, why go down the path of playing organized? Like, why try to play AAU or high school when, like, I'm not going to end up being a pro anyway? So why restrict myself to only playing or even trying to make an AAU or a high school team? I just wasn't interested in it. And you can say, well, you weren't interested in it because you knew you weren't good enough. Okay, so what? If I was not good enough, like the only thing that mattered to me was being out here. I didn't care if it was by myself. I didn't care if it was at the park. I didn't care if it was at the YMCA or trying to run anywhere with whoever, whether they were also recreational players or they were actual organized players and I was trying to fit in with them. I didn't care. I just wanted to be out here because that's how much it meant to me. But I had no care about trying to go down the organized basketball route because there was no pot of gold at the end of it for me. So instead, I made the conscious decision as a teenager to try to be the best basketball player I could be, even though it would only ever be recreational. So as a kid and a teenager, when it came to basketball, one of the few things in life that actually fit me where like when I was doing anything basketball related, whatever it was, studying, practicing, whatever, I just felt like at home doing basketball stuff. And most of my life, I didn't feel that way doing anything else except for basketball. I wasn't good, but just because I wasn't good didn't mean it didn't fit me and it didn't feel like home. I don't know how else to describe it other than like, I just felt I belonged. I didn't have to be good to feel like I belonged. I just felt like I belonged anytime I was doing anything basketball related. So as a kid and a teenager, basketball was like a burning passion of mine, especially as a teenager when I was actually trying to get better and I was actually studying and trying to learn the game and see what my basketball potential was. I had accepted that it was only ever going to be recreational, but I still had like a burning passion just to see, even though that being the ceiling, how good I could get. And I loved it. It was very important to me. But even more so when I got into my 20s, because as happens with a lot of young men who are in their early 20s, trying to figure out like, okay, the transition from being a teenage kid to now going into adulthood for the very first time. And I was doing that on my own. I didn't have people around me to show me and teach me like what it meant to be an adult and what it meant to be a man. That can be a very hard transition for a lot of males in their early 20s, and it definitely was for me. That time in my life was very tumultuous. It was very difficult, a difficulty that I had never experienced before. And so when I found myself in this dark time in my life, I found refuge in one of the few things that I really had a passion for and brought me joy, and that was basketball. I threw myself into basketball more so and in ways that I had never done before because, like I said, as a kid and a teenager, it was about fun. It was a fun, passionate thing that I did all the time. As a 20-something, now it was like, it felt at that time like life or death. Was it? No, not necessarily, but that's the way it felt. It felt like everything else in my life was terrible. I couldn't stand the rest of my life. So I distracted myself and took refuge in playing and doing the one thing that I really had a true passion for, which was basketball. I went from just sort of a fiery passion and enjoyment for basketball to basketball obsession. And again, still, no designs to try to go professional, to try to play college basketball, nothing like that. It was just like, basketball is one of the few things in my life that fits me, and especially at this time of my life, I need it more than ever, so now I am going to be addicted and obsessed with finding out and pushing myself to be the very best basketball player I can. It's only recreational, but it means the world to me. I don't know how to determine one way or the other, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say in my 20s, basketball saved me. It saved my life. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say I may not be here today had I not had basketball, recreational basketball in my life at that time to save me. I used it as a distraction from the rest of my life, which felt terrible at the time. And basketball helped to get me through that time in my life. And it got me through because I was obsessed about being the best player I could, and thus I took it as probably the most serious thing in my life at that time. So for this guy to say that pickup basketball, recreational basketball, is not real basketball and that you shouldn't take it that seriously, I have this deadly opposition towards. It might just be rage bait. It might just be something he's saying to be divisive and inflammatory so people will watch and comment and engage with his video. That's very possibly true, but because this is so deeply personal to me, I feel compelled to comment on it when it's so important to who I have been as a person. Again, I don't know this guy. I don't claim to know him. I'm not saying that he's stupid or evil or the enemy, or I'm trying to attack him as if like I know him and I can read his mind and like what his intentions were. I think it's important to say that because that happens to me as the small content creator that I am. When people see some of my videos, they don't know me and they don't know my background. They don't know the entire context of a video. They might just see a clip of it and then they come away with the wrong message that I didn't intend, and that can happen. So I'm saying like with this video, that may be what's happening here with me, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. I'm pretty sure I understand the message. It's just that the presentation of saying that pickup basketball shouldn't be taken seriously and that it's not real basketball is whack. You could have made your point and sent that message without throwing in that needless bit of opinion as well. Obviously, it's your opinion and you're entitled to have it, but my point is like that opinion was just not needed for this video and for this message. Your message of organized basketball players are better than pickup players, completely true. I completely agree with you, but to go further and say that pickup basketball should be taken seriously and that it's not real basketball, I think that is going too far, and I definitely disagree with it, especially because I'm biased. That's why I disagree with that opinion, is because I'm biased, and my experience when it comes to almost pretty much the entirety of basketball is the opposite of that opinion. So that would be to say that my entire experience with basketball doesn't count. It was a waste of time because I never played high school or AAU basketball, let alone Division III basketball. So therefore, I'm not as good as you as a basketball player. And therefore, because I'm not as good as you, then everything that I did was a waste of time. Now, like I said, he doesn't know me and I don't know him. We don't know each other. So obviously, he wasn't like targeting me. He wasn't trying to come at me specifically. Why would he, of course? But it's still, the message still applies to me as a basketball player, even if I'm a unique outlier. It still applies to me, and thus I'm insulted by it. My comment to him, part of it said that his video it reeked of basketball snobbery, because it's pretty much saying that if you're not this good to play Division III, then you don't count. Division III is so much better than recreational pickup players that us, as those recreational pickup players, we're just wasting our time and thus shouldn't take it seriously. We're only allowed, according to him, to take it seriously if we're Division III or above. What kind of basketball snobbery is that? Just because you're better, just because you can play better basketball than us and you can beat us at basketball, doesn't mean you get to dictate to us what we should be passionate about and take seriously and say what is real and not real when it comes to the things that we're passionate about and that we love. You wouldn't want D2 or D1 dictating that to you, so how dare you dictate to anyone else below you? That is punching downwards and it's needless. There's no need to do it, so why are you doing it? It's not the part where you're better than me and you can beat me at basketball that gets to me. It's where you think that you can tell me what I should take seriously and what is real to me and what is not. Because it's no secret that you're a better basketball player than me. Pretty much everybody is. Pretty much everybody can beat me at basketball, but that does not mean that I shouldn't take it seriously. It shouldn't be a passion of mine. And my effort and everything that I put into the game that I personally love, that it's not real. My perception, my version of basketball is just different than yours. So what's the problem with that? Why punch down at me just because I didn't follow the path that you did, and I'm not as good as you are. I also ended my comment to him saying that for anybody, if you're passionate about anything, everything and anything that you're passionate about, as long as you're doing it for positive, productive reasons, and you have a passion about it, you love it, then you should chase it no matter what it is, regardless of like what level that you're trying to reach of whatever it is. You should chase it and you should love it and you should take it as seriously as you please to take it. If you're doing it for fun, great. If you're doing it with a seriousness, that's great too. Just because you're not at a certain level yet or you never want to be doesn't dismiss the fact that that's something that's important to you. And that is why when anyone says that tries to dictate, here's what you should take seriously, here's what you should consider real or not, especially when it comes to me and basketball, that's why I am so vehemently disgusted by that particular opinion. Let me bust in real quick while I'm editing this video, just to make a little subtle distinction here. The part that I'm upset about and so heated about is where I feel like he's trying to dictate his opinion to the rest of us, and that like because he has the opinion that we all should share in his opinion. If he would have just said, to me, I think basketball players, like pickup players, should not take pickup so seriously. In other words, just presenting it as his opinion and just, simply what he thinks, then I would have still, of course, disagreed with it. But I would have been much less heated about it because, it's just his opinion. So even though I disagree, why would I be upset? But it's the part where he tried to dictate, he thinks this, thus we all should think the same exact thing, the same exact way, just because it's his opinion and we should think what he thinks. That's the part that made me angry. Just because you have an opinion doesn't mean everyone else should share in that opinion. People are allowed to think differently and have different opinions than you, and it doesn't make them less than just because they do. Tell me what you think, but don't tell me I should have to agree with you. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, or at least if you found it interesting, if you think I made some kind of interesting points in ways that you may not have considered, then thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. And feel free, let us know down in the comments what your take is on the whole pickup basketball shouldn't be taken seriously and it's not real comment. Let us know down in the comments. Here's the deal. I have my opinion, which I've stated, and that's the way I feel. If you feel differently, that's fine. Just don't tell me that I should change my opinion to agree with you, because I'm not telling you that you should change your opinion to agree with me. I'm just saying, here's how I feel, and here's my opinion, and here's why. But not that you should agree with me, just that I have this opinion because it makes sense to me in this way. So, if you have an opinion that disagrees with that, that's fine, as long as you don't try to dictate that I should leave my position and agree with you because you're right and I'm wrong. Feel free to tell me what you think, but don't try to convince me to agree with you when you already know that I don't. I want to know what you think. I just don't want you to try to convince me or anyone else to agree with you just because it's your opinion, and thus because it's yours, it has to be right. Everybody has to agree with you. I don't think that about me. I don't think that you should think that about you. So just let us know what you think without trying to start the drama and the fights and the conflict. I'm not here for that. I'm only here to say, hey, not everybody does and approach the game the same way that you do. Why is that not? You approach the game differently than I do. That's fine. But when you try to dictate to me what's real and what I should take seriously, that's not okay. If you don't take it seriously, if you don't think it's real, that's okay. I'm fine with that. But don't tell me to take on your opinion. I want to know what your opinion is. Just don't try to dictate it to me like I should agree with you. Yeah, I'm sure everybody's going to comment now. But before you do comment, make sure you hit that thanks button down below, because not only does hitting that thanks button make whatever comment you make stand out from everybody else because it highlights it, but hitting that thanks button directly supports the channel. So for anyone that does hit that thanks button, no, I genuinely appreciate it. As always, like, share, comment. Like I said, make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever any video goes live on this channel. And until then, I'll see you guys next week.
They laugh at the passion, they mock my obsession, but I ball like the future depends on this session. Who crown the league kings of what's real? Love's not a contract, it's the thrill you feel. Game face, don't care what they say. I take my shot any court, any day. Pickups my temple, asphalt's my shrine. Every dribble sacred, every moment mine. They talk big arenas like that's the only truth, but my jumper sings sermons, net whispers proof. Running back, double check, yeah we keep the score. This black top kingdom, I'm forever hardcore.